get into the news. All right, first bit of news. This is from NJ105. On 1015, survey finds 20% of New Jersey businesses owners say they'll sell or close. The business closures brought on by the pandemic might not be over yet. If the results of New Jersey Businesses and Industry Association's annual business outlook survey are any indication, the survey found that 20% of business owners said that they will look to sell or close their business sooner than previously anticipated due to the continuing challenges of staffing, mandates, restrictions, and lower revenue. Another 31% said that they are still determining their plans. The overall cost of doing business was selected by 20% of business owners as their biggest challenges, displacing the perennial top pick, property taxes. Also, 77% expect their health benefits costs to rise in 2022, and 69% expected to pay more in property taxes. New Jersey has the nation third highest unemployment rate at 7%, topped by only California and Nevada.
Hey, guys, you can make that bigger too.
Yeah, I couldn't see that. I was struggling my day.
That's why you struggling?
Yeah, I was just like, yo, I can't see
these. It's so small.
I was like, yo, I might need my glasses.
I be rubbing my eyes.
Fellas, so what do we think about what's happening in our very own Garden State? Business owners. It didn't break down what type of businesses, which I would have been interested to see. And see who's more impacted, if it's the service industry, is it the what have you, but nonetheless, they did the survey and 28% is basically saying they're looking to sell or close, and with another 31% that are in limbo regarding what they might do.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of what kind of businesses they are. Some businesses won't be sustainable, like in Montclair or South Orange area, you might have some, little boutiques that are like for animal toys or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That might not survive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Animal toy business might not survive. Squeaky toy animal business might not survive right now. But New Jersey do have a lot of taxes, and I'm still having this problem with like their staffing is a problem for a lot of people. It's going to push into that fucking nanobot reality, and we're going to have more robots working, bro. Like, at the end of the day, if staffing is an issue and people aren't getting people to work, that's a problem. You know what I mean? And what also will happen is, once they do find out these things about the border and open it up, people can't be arguing about these jobs. You know what I mean? If you don't want these jobs, they need to be filled. Like, services still need to be given to the people who want these services. But at the end of the day, it's expensive as hell to have a business in Jersey. Yeah. And I think Black Zeus have a better insight on that because he actually has a business in Jersey. Like, that shit is expensive. You know what I mean? And if it makes better sense for me to like the stocks or something, if it makes better sense for me to cut and jump ship right now while I can, as opposed to lose everything or just about, lose everything that I've gained over a 10 or 15 year period, it behooves me to sell shit. Yeah. And it's not like Governor Murphy. I mean, I think we got, I forget the exact number, but we got a lot of money for New Jersey for the pandemic. And I don't think that he's, just giving that to the small businesses.
Yeah, there's been struggles with disseminating those funds to the smaller businesses. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, all that, and, all that creates a problem. And then, shit, your property tax is still going up. You're like, damn, bro, I'm not catching a break.
Yeah.
So it's not, and I don't mind them closing. I mean, they probably, even if they close in Jersey, they can open up somewhere else. You know what I mean? But, yeah, that's my take on it.
Anybody else? Black Zeus, Henry?
I'll jump in. I mean, I think the biggest issue for me is just that you're still allowing a lot of niggas to not work. Like, I think niggas are taking advantage of the situation, specifically like the fact that, they're being offered this extra assistance. I'm talking about the everyday person, not the business owners. They're getting offered this extra assistance to not work. The idea of fucking paying niggas to go back to work is crazy to me. Like, my wife and I went out last night and there was a wait this isn't the first time. You probably went through it too. At a restaurant where there's empty seats and we still gotta wait. That shit is crazy. Think about, what it's saying. Like, yo, niggas they still want the services that they want. So motherfuckers should just end certain, like, cut all of these stimuluses and extra shit that we giving out, cut the unemployment out, and tell niggas like, yo, y'all motherfuckers need to go get a job first. Like wrap the unemployment up for niggas who's been unemployed for a certain amount of time. There are jobs out there for motherfuckers to do. Niggas just ain't doing that shit. They adjusted their lifestyle based off of the fact that the government can help them out. So I'm saying all of that to say, I'm pretty sure that these small business owners can employ niggas. It doesn't seem like motherfuckers are in the crib not wanting to go out. It's just that when the businesses are struggling, partially because niggas don't want work.
Well, real quick on that one, like I said, I would have loved to hear the breakdown of who was surveyed, what business was surveyed, because you can't simply just fill the position like that. If it's a specialized skill set that business might require, that could be the case too. Like where, they're struggling to find people, but like the everyday Jane or Joe can't just simply fill out an application and say, "Yeah, I want to,"
And if it's specialized and in America nobody's working, I can go and command big bucks.
That's exactly where I was gonna go, Smith. Like,
you know what I mean?
I was gonna if I got the skill set and I'm seeing this sort of labor shortage, and I could go like, hey, they need this skill set in Texas. Mm-hmm. Texas has a lower state income, or and the life affordability is much cheaper. I'm gonna take my ass to Texas.
Yeah, that part makes sense.
Yeah.
If the labor is going elsewhere, because aside from that, I'm feeling like, nigga, when you open up the business, they have motherfuckers who could work those jobs where they at now. But I guess leaving the state, okay, that does work. I mean, that is an explanation.
Yeah, it's this. Before Black Zeus go, you still got teacher shortages for that reason, brother. Like, you know what I mean? At North, we got 90 instructional staff that's not working. Like, come on, it's real.
Black Zeus.
Like people are going to school to become a teacher since this pandemic happened. So, businessman Zeus, let's go, bruh.
I mean, there's a lot of layers. Like, layer number one is the fact of they started this shit wrong when they started kicking out more money towards people than they were getting paid when they were on the job. So that then people started thinking like, why would I go back to work if I'm getting more money sit on my ass than I would be, going to my job. So that, and that's already, and the thing is that the reality is that a large majority of people only work because they have to, not because they're like,
ding, ding,
not because they want to do something for a purpose and get up every day and be a part of something or anything like that. So if you give them the money to sit on their ass and do nothing, they're going to sit on their ass and do nothing. So there's that aspect. Second aspect is the fact of like, coming from a small business perspective, I hate all this fucking talk of like, oh, the businesses should be paying a living wage. But here's when the businesses are falling. Do you see any of those employees that you're paying a living wage say, hey, boss, hey, company that's been giving me a living wage for 5-10 years, we see that you're failing. We're going to give you some financial support. No, nobody gives a fuck about the small businesses. But yet the small business is supposed to make sure that you're okay, that you have a living wage. It's like, it's a crock of shit. Now, the whole thing is that the businesses that would be hurting the most during these times are businesses that, not the ones that necessarily have the specialized things. Because the whole thing is, here's the thing about specialties. When you specialize in something, you only need a handful of those people. All right. So if you only need a handful of those people, then you're not going to hurt that bad if you get a handful of those people. It's the businesses that need more than a handful of low-level workers. All right, that's the reality of it. Like restaurants, gyms, those are the ones that are closing in our local areas. Powerhouse Gym, a gym that I used to be at since 2004 just closed its doors permanently at the beginning of November. They just closed their doors permanently because, of everything from the shutdowns to the fact that they can't get staffing and people aren't coming into the gym. So they get hit three ways. One, the fact of the shutdowns meant the fact that there's no income coming. When they finally did open up, customers weren't coming back like they used to. And then, employees are like, well, I'm not working there unless, you're paying me this and I have to have this, and like all these other bullshit standards that weren't there before the pandemic. So it's a multi-layered thing, and it all depends on what industry you're in most definitely. But the teacher shortage is just simply because some teachers are just being assholes and saying, I don't want to get vaccinated. And it's just like, really? That's your reason? That is your reason. Like,
that's not why it's a teacher shortage, though.
That's one of the biggest reasons that.
Well, that could be, but that same reason could be applied to other businesses too.
No. Wait. Teachers don't have to be vaccinated. All they have to do is get tested. So
yeah, in the state of New Jersey, you could get tested. You could get tested or back. I don't think that's the reason either.
Teachers have got burned out. They retired. They were stressed out. That's what.
There's also that retirement rate. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, the retirement.
I forgot about that part.
New fandangle working in a pandemic, and you get me all of these restrictions still that I got to work through.
I forgot about that.
That's what it is. But they don't
have.
At
the end of the day, we're all gonna have to adapt and change. But all I know is that when there's no more stimulus money, no more unemployment money, no more funding whatsoever, I want to see what people are gonna do. There's gonna be blood in the streets.
Well,
but I think the money stopped already.
Yeah,
no, there's still some of it trickling out. I just got an email. Today from the SBA asking me if I was interested in a disaster loan payment. So this money's still being trickled out, my friend.
It's still trickling, but like I think the majority of it is like people just like at the end of the day, like you said, people work because they have to. Nobody wants to fucking work.
Well, New Jersey has always not been favorable, has never been a business for quite a bit of time, hasn't been a business friendly state. You've had large companies leave the state of New Jersey, and this pandemic has certainly accelerated that sort of departure. What I found interesting, I understand how the mandates hurt these businesses, because if you're someone who, to all the reasons to Smith pointed out in regards to finding staffing, like some people might not want to work under certain mandate conditions, and therefore that could hurt the business. But I'm also interested in regards of what the restrictions were that these businesses had to find themselves having to abide by.
Think about it, Cash. If I got a paint and sip, is my shit surviving?
Yeah.
Because paint and sip, you had to come in.
Yeah.
Kind of like a gym, you know what I mean? Like, am I able to survive as paint and sip? And if I'm used to having 36 customers and I only can get in 12
half of that, less than that, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how does that really, you know what I mean? And paint and sips were big for a period of time, but did they survive a pandemic?
Yeah.
You know what
I know a lot of restaurants, like a lot of the pizzerias didn't survive, bro. Like, you talking about historic pizzerias that have been around for a while, and due to like the mandates,
I think they would survive though, just because people were still ordering stuff. I would think like a restaurant,
but like a restaurant where you really like sit in, like where you could probably have like the capacity issues when Governor Murphy issued those mandates. When you compare, like, look into those numbers and stuff, they really struggled, man. Like, when you can't have close to 100% capacity, you can only have like 50, 70, 60. Yeah. I don't know what the mandates are for businesses, but if they're still, I felt like Governor Murphy kind of eased up on a lot of the mandates this year, though.
You can have 100%.
So I don't know what's happening with these businesses, but that certainly was this is an interesting story. I think New Jersey is going to be in a sad state. This is why I am planning a soon departure out of this state.
Yeah, New Jersey, I was about to say, to end it, New Jersey has people that they tend to critically think, you know what I mean? And like, nah, I don't want to go do that. Kind of like Zeus was saying, if you don't want to, if people aren't going out, you ain't your business ain't surviving. You know what I mean?
Man, New Jersey's just one of those corrupt ass states too. Like we could get into like the policies in regards of how New Jersey do things, but all right,
As
next
opposed
up.
to the non-corrupt states.
Which one?
Well, New Jersey, look, man, when you talking about having the third highest unemployment rate, and then you talk about all the money tax revenues that New Jersey collects, and you look at our roads, and you're just like, where's the money go, man? Don't get me started, bro. But New Jersey, there's so many other states that have done very well during these two past years, and Florida is one of them. If you look at how Florida has been operated versus New Jersey, they're flourishing. Just on the economic level.
Now, I would think that New York would actually be up there besides like New Jersey. So yeah, that makes California, Nevada, and New Jersey. All right,
next story. This is from NPR. Debt collectors can now text, email, and DM you on social media. New rules approved by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that took effect on Tuesday dictate how collection agencies can email and text people as well as message them on social media to seek repayment for unpaid debts. Kathleen L. Kraninger, the former CFPB director who oversaw the rule changes, said last year that they were necessary update to the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, which is more than 4 decades old. We are finally leaving 1977 behind and developing a debt collection system that works for consumers and industry in the modern world, Kroeninger said in a blog post. But Consumer Advocate says borrower risk missing key information about their debts or falling prey to illegal scams if they're contacted online. The rules are really disappointing and concerning in a number of ways, said April. What is up with these foreign last names? A state attorney at the National Consumer Law Center, allowing debt collectors to email, text, and use social media to contact consumers also give criminals a new avenue to try to swindle people out of their money, a practice Kunoff expects to increase in the future. Under the new rules, debt collectors can contact you on social media to identify themselves as debt collectors, but can attempt to join your network by sending you a friend request. Collectors must give you the option to opt out of being contacted online. Any messages they send have to be private. Collectors can't post your page if it can be seen by your contacts or public. Collection agencies can also email text message debtors, but must still offer the ability to opt out. Industry officials praised the move as a welcome change to the outdated methods currently used by the collection industry.
That shit ain't gonna make a difference, though. So the only way that shit is gonna make a difference is if like these debt collectors come on and like be posting shit about these motherfuckers. Like, yo, man, my name's Kelvin Henry, I represent a MasterCard. That nigga probably cashes ain't paid shit yet. If y'all see this nigga, fucking block. Like, unless there's gonna be some shit like that, all the niggas gotta do is just fucking block them or not respond to the DM. It's like niggas don't pick up the phone. Well, they gotta shame motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
He said bring back shame.
It was the last and second bullet that I was looking at. I thought they were going to be able to do it so people can see it. If people can't see it, it doesn't make a difference. At the end of the day, it also says that I can opt out. So there goes that. You know what I mean? It's a short story. I opt out. You can't contact me besides by snail mail. So, and the other part is, if you got debt collectors hounding you, then you should read this book called How to Get Out of Debt. You know what I mean? That's what you should probably do. Because they should be calling you and texting you and all that. That's a problem if you ain't paying your bills. Hey, if you ain't paying your bills, listen, we got an unemployment rate that's really high, so you should probably go get a job. I'm just saying.
Yo, if you ain't paying your bills, go see Smith. That nigga gonna bust you down with a loan, huh?
Bust you down with a loan, yeah. A nice loan. You're gonna have to pay 78% interest on.
What kind of predatory lending is that shit?
Hey, the banks do it. Why can't I?
70. Well, that's those payday loan lenders.
Hey.
Black Zeus, what you got, brother? Or debt collection?
I got mixed. Thoughts on that because on one side, I think that if you get into some financial whatever issues, and you get yourself in debt, that you have responsibility to pay your debts because it is owed to you or it is owed to whoever it is. But I do have some issue with so like what Smith said, right? They'll get people into debt, and most of this debt usually comes from credit cards. Mm-hmm. Right, most of the debt usually comes from credit cards. Sometimes on the other, credit cards and medical.
Yes, right? Medical is the number one reason why people go.
Medical is one of the main reasons people get into debt. So one is the fact of the medical industry, makes it so hard for people to get health care if they need it, this, that, and the other. Like medical insurance, like the whole, the way they threw out the Obamacare and everything like that. So there's that aspect where it's like, I remember back in the day when I was single and everything, and if I wanted to get medical, basic medical, not even nothing fancy, it was like, almost $500 a month just to have insurance. I'm like, I could go and get into a major car accident, and be covered for multi-million dollars for like $100 something a month. But whatever. So I think the system that creates this, this debt that people fall into is kind of fucked up. Like, Smith said about the predator lending, and same thing with the credit cards. They don't get, like, obviously they can go with a lower interest rate, but they'll hit you with that high interest rate, especially as a college student. They get them real young.
23.99, 24%.
Yeah, see, like that's crazy. That's like taxes and stuff. But
yeah, I know Bernie Sanders and Senator Elizabeth Warren wanted to put a cap on interest rates in regards of what lenders could charge people, but that shit got no action.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is the fact of like the debt trap that they get people into, from the jump between medical and credit cards is kind of crazy to me. Mm-hmm. And then if the debt collecting system, it's like they pay pennies on the dollar to your debt. So they buy, if you owe let's say $100, they buy your debt for like $40 from whoever it was, and then they harass you for the other 60.
Yeah.
So it's like people making money on top of making money on you.
And they put interest on that other 60.
Yeah. It's like, so it's just like the whole system is kind of, it's not just that person paying their debt. Yeah. It's all, the whole thing is predatory. The whole system is predatory, which that's why I have an issue with. If it was a fair system where it's just like, all right, you borrowed $100, you got to pay back 110, 115. Maybe, but like
what though, Shub?
You borrowed $100, you're paying back $250.
Yeah. But Shub, I got the medical situation. Okay, you can't really foresee shit like that happening. But as far as the credit card goes, niggas need to educate motherfuckers before they start. A parent needs to educate kids, not like don't do it, but like, this is what you're getting yourself into.
Absolutely,
and
I agree.
It don't even take. That shit doesn't even take a genius. Like, I don't have to understand how the credit card shit works outside of, I have a fucking credit card. These niggas are charging me this much interest. Like, I'm just letting you know that once you fucking start doing this shit, this is what it's going to be.
But that's
so, like, niggas get mad. You can't get mad at the lenders. If this is what niggas is charging, it's always been this way.
So here's the thing. I'm not saying necessarily get mad at the lenders, always been this way, but the whole thing is, don't you think it's kind of fucked up that they know that they get young college students coming right out of high school who have no financial education, who are going to be young, immature, and make bad decisions, and they give them these credit cards willy-nilly. They just start popping into you. You didn't ask for those credit cards. Just remember that. Most of the time, nobody applies for those credit cards. They come in your mail, coming looking for you.
Yeah, I think
so
they passed
that's
some
predatory,
laws
my
to
dude.
limit that sort of
That's
No,
predatory,
what
my
they were
dude.
doing was they would give you free T-shirts and little snacks and little gift cards and have you sign.
Yeah, man.
No, I think they did pass some laws to limit the presence of credit card companies on college campuses.
Yeah,
But they
Um,
still mail them out to college students.
even with
They still do that. Yes, I
and
think honestly,
with
but
that
the angle,
language, but
Then they trick you with the language. They tell you, oh, you're pre-qualified.
no,
And
but
pre-qualified doesn't
but
mean anything.
I wanted to say the price of medical is still outrageous too. So
no, but I agree
credit
with you,
card
Black
just-
Zeus. Your overall sentiment with this
Even
news.
as a small business, I get those I just got one the other day. You get these pre-qualified. Oh, you pre-qualified.
Oh, you can
for a
see
credit
that
card.
though.
You get all of that shit all the time.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
there's
you can see it, but that's not the point that is getting to you.
I understand that. No, I get all that,
a
but
college student who's not educated with it and say, "Oh, you understand?"
no, I get all that. What I'm saying is,
Go ahead.
I wanted to add to what Black Zeus is getting at, because clearly for him, this story is not a matter of how how collections agency is reaching out. He's tackling the debt collection, period. And I agree with you. I think honestly, when we talk about credit card debt, a lot of people think instantly like this sort of frivolous spending that is happening. And I was recently reading, maybe last week, on the Economic Times, is with inflation rate being 6%, it was like 6.2. They adjusted it. It was like 5.5, now 6.2. Like, yo, people are essentially, the cost of living is outpacing what people are earning. So like, if you have, if your annual raise, if you're lucky to even receive one, but like, let's say your annual raise is 2%, but the cost of inflation is going up by 6%. You're in a hole by negative 4% in regards of keeping up with goods and services. And then, and like to what Black Zeus pointed out in regards of the medical stuff, like a lot of times people put their medical bills on their credit card. So like when people think credit card debt, they're thinking like, oh, nah, like you paying your credit card, you're trying to stay afloat. And this whole, to what Black Zeus, and I love what he said, like the whole system is fucked up in regards of how people fall into the trap of debt. Yes, when we think about the psychology of money and we're thinking about how people are reckless with their spending, I get that. But there is a component there where it's just like people are struggling just to stay afloat. So it's just, those
are two different things, though, Cash. Like,
but it's not two different things in regards of
two different things in the sense of the 18-year-old coming out of colleges and spending the money on medical bills. Now, that's not to say. Yeah. So again, I get that these dudes.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me just finish my point. And I get that. Okay, they're immature and their frontal whatever hasn't been fucking developed yet. But the only way that I can say, okay, Zeus, I can see where you're coming from, is if the parents haven't schooled them on it, which they need to. Now, at the end of the day, the credit cards aren't the only thing that's like that niggas is making bad decisions on as a young person, or just people in general. These motherfuckers like. To say like, oh, I'm 18, my parents gave me the information. I know that this is gonna happen, but I don't give a fuck. I'm still going to do it. Now we're gonna blame the credit card company for that shit. Like, yo,
I'm blaming the credit card. Here's where I'm blaming the credit card.
Go ahead, Blacks, because I was about to chime in. Go ahead, Blacks.
Part one is the fact of not necessarily that the parents have any financial education themselves to share with that child. Because I know my parents didn't have that education. I learned that education on my own. All right, that's number one. Number two is the fact of there's a difference when I get up and I go down to the bank and I apply for a loan. The bank didn't come to me. I went to the bank. I took that responsibility. When someone else is shoving it into my face as a young person who's trying to get by, or who's especially at the time in college where everybody's fucking broke. Everybody's trying to get by, and you're putting this on. Here's $1,000. Here's $2,000. Here's $5,000. You'll pay it back later. You'll pay it back at $20 a week or a month or this, that, and the other. That offer is a very tempting offer, and they know who they're sending that shit to. They're not sending it to they're not sending it out to somebody who's making six figures in Cedar Grove and Livingston. They send that to young people that are broke and living in at like $35,000 or less a year. Okay, That is predatory. It's the same way a drug dealer comes up to a kid and says, just try this out. Here, have one free sample. Once they got you hooked, you're fucked. All right, you're fucked.
And I want to add on to that, man. The one thing, and I'm going to use your example. You go to a bank and you ask for a loan. What's the interest rate on that loan? And then compare that to the interest rate that you normally would see on a credit card. The credit card rate is significantly higher than most personal loans out there. Significantly. Sometimes, you're talking about almost in the most extreme cases, because there's 36% interest rate credit cards out there. You're talking about damn near 4 or 5 times higher than what you would normally get from a personal loan. So it's just like, I get that, but I do claim, someone who's worked for the credit card companies before, I do claim ownership on the credit card companies, because like I stated earlier, when Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren did present this bill to put a cap on interest rate, it's rightfully so. Because what are you getting for your savings rates right now? Less than 1%. Everyone's getting less 1%, but you use your credit card. Like that's 16, you're talking about 16, 17, 18%. This shit is predatory as all shit, man. Like if you use your credit card, you're almost, it's like I was saying before, if the rate of inflation is outpacing how much you're making, and now you're having to use your credit card, and now your credit card is charging an exorbitant amount of interest rate, you're having a hard time just keeping up, bro.
That shit is
keeping
targeted,
up,
dude. In case you don't recognize that shit is targeted. Right?
Yeah.
It's not just like random, any and everybody gets that shit. That shit is specifically targeted. Once they get, it's the same way I'm getting all these business credit card apps. I didn't apply for any of this shit. How the fuck do they know where my business is? How the fuck do they know what my business is? They know my business name. They know my name. They know where my business is, this, that, and the other. They know I'm a small business. So they're sending these credit card things to me all the time. That shit is targeted. Shit is
so why don't these young broke college kids in college have any money?
Why
are they not working?
I'm sorry. How many college? How many 18, 19-year-old college kids you know that are flush?
No, but I'm saying.
How many do you know that are flush?
Schubert. So the only other option is to get a credit card. I can't get a job.
You can get a job, but here's the thing.
But Cal, what are you
I'm
focusing
a full-time college student. I've got to do how many classes and hours of study. I have no skills. I have no education to speak of. What job do you think I'm gonna get? I'm gonna get some punk ass job at Dunkin' Donuts, at Starbucks, and barely get by.
Are we saying to pay for college? This is what we're saying we're broke, or we're in
college? No,
we're
saying the fact that if that college student's already taking loans, right? Them loans for school are probably paying for you to live on campus and for you to have and for you to have your classes. But what about how about transportation? How about food? How about an entertainment expense? You got to go get a job. Stop. You got to go get a job for that. You don't qualify for a lot of jobs because you don't have any skills. You don't have any education. So you have to get very low-level jobs, low-level part-time jobs that allow you to have the time in order for you to study and do everything you got to do as a student. All right. That means the fact that you're making a bare minimum cost of income. Now that bare minimum cost of income, all right, you're supposed to stretch it out. And you're gonna want, hey, you know what? I would like to have a coat. I would like, it's winter's coming up. I would like to have my car needs new tires.
What college student has all of this, bro? If you're putting yourself in that position, nigga, you need to save money up first for all that shit before you go to college. You don't have to go to college.
Really? You are bugging.
Stop it. Get some help.
Let me say this. When I was in college, I worked and went to college. I think I worked 2 jobs and went to college full time. So you're saying, oh man, the college student can't do that.
I'm asking you a question.
All right, let's Smith chime in real quick.
Were you engaged in sports at school?
Yes, but I didn't do sports.
I'm not talking about rules.
I stopped.
I'm talking about when you were like on a scholarship, because like students get scholarships to play sports, and the sports in school is all they have time to do. No time to stop sometimes. So again, I went to a white college, and I'll say this: I was offered credit cards every day. I got 7 my first year in school. Never had credit before ever. Young black man got 7 my first year in school. A lot of students fell into the credit debt because again,
I had 3.
They offer you things like T-shirts, little gift cards, and you're a poor college student. So those free things, just for me to sign up for this, is cool. Not understanding that, oh, you're actually going to get this credit card, and I'm going to give it to you. So even if I have some discipline, Henry, what happens is I'm in college. I get broke. Oh, I forgot. I got this credit card. One swipe's not going to hurt. I swipe it one time. It's only for $35. But guess what? I still don't even have $35 to put back to pay this goddamn card. Now the interest has built up and it's built up. I use it.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
This is how you get caught in the goddamn trap, bro.
Yeah, man.
Do it.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that there's outliers. And like
that's not an outlier.
It's not an outlier. Cal, I would say this.
Every Division One,
any money.
So every Division I athlete doesn't have enough money to survive in college.
You hear a lot. Hold on. You hear a lot of Division I athletes.
Okay, so let's say Smith. Okay, so let's say that's a fair argument, Smith. The Division I athletes who don't have enough time to work and don't have enough money, because you're right. I watched the documentary saying some of them niggas didn't have bread when they was in college. That's fair.
Yeah, bro.
So then that's what the argument is, right? So the niggas who are doing Division I sports and don't have time to work.
It doesn't have to be just Division I, bro. Don't do that.
So who else?
No, it's a college student.
All right, hold on. Cal, let me chime in with this. Yo, Cal, I will say this.
Did you go to a D1 school?
No, D3. But like, I would say this. No, because we went to the same school.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Don't say it's
Smith, I stopped playing sports, bro. I stopped playing sports because I didn't get a scholarship. I get what you're saying.
You didn't have a scholarship though. Fuck. Like,
but what I'm saying is there's blind spots in your argument, Kel, because the thing is, yes, while you did work, it doesn't necessarily mean that income covered all of your expenses. Like, books were outrageous. It's still outrageous today in regards of what you could afford to swipe to eat at the cafeteria. That was an extra cost. Like, I pulled up an article just now because this is an issue not just at Rutgers University. This is an issue across the nation on a lot of college campuses. I'm just going to read the first paragraph. The Rutgers University Foundation raised more than $54,000 from a total of 794 donors yesterday through its annual Giving Tuesday, an event to help combat food insecurity for Rutgers students across all campuses. Bro, colleges have gotten so expensive that these teenagers are having to use credit cards just to stay on campus. Working a job is not enough. And I could tell you right now, someone who's worked 2 jobs alongside with you, who's worked 2 jobs, you know what happens when you work the amount of hours that you work? Your grades suffer.
Thank
a lot
you.
of people, your grade. Cal.
Because the time that you're putting towards that job,
Schubert, I worked 2 jobs in college.
Dude, are you a lab technician, Cal? Have you ever did lab work? Have you ever done?
Are you a science major? Are you a mathematics major?
I'm about to say it depends. You don't know the workload.
Because no disrespect to the major that you graduated in, bro.
Yeah,
but it's cakewalk compared to if you were to do a STEM career, a STEM engineering program. Those kids are not necessarily finding the time to work 2 or even 1 job.
So because they're in fields that's demanded, and then when they graduate, they get a high, and then when they get out, they have a high salary.
They have a high salary, but they also have a high level of debt.
So then when they graduate,
with a high level of debt.
They also have a high level of debt. You're looking at the salary, but you're ignoring the debt that they had to accumulate.
They got to pay off first
before they dig themselves out that hole.
Yeah, look at doctors. Dave Ramsey. You're a fan of Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey did No. Let's look at you, Henry. Then you have to do the loan forgiveness because you wanted the loan to be forgiven because you was in debt?
Yeah, Smith, but I also worked when I was in college. Like,
but
that's
you were
like
still in debt. Listen, you worked and you were still in debt.
But it wasn't credit card debt. It was not credit card debt.
Okay, what kind of debt was it, Kel?
You worked and you were still in debt.
Stop. What kind of debt was it,
Schubert,
Kel?
I'm not saying, Schubert, it's one thing if, okay, I'm working a job and then I'm paying my tuition.
You was
But if I'm a college
job, all these hours.
Hold up.
If I'm a college student, and I have to pay for books, and then I have to pay for what? The extra food that my meal swipe might not carry. What else am I paying for?
Transportation.
That a minimum wage job can't cover.
Transportation. You know, you might be covering
So
transportation.
I'm not living on. So then I don't need to be going to that school.
Bullshit.
What do you mean bullshit? Yeah, okay.
Like,
if I'm not in a
if
financial position, so can doctors start off at community college?
So do you know anybody? Kel, tell me who you know. Tell me who you know who has the financial position to say, I have enough money to go to college, pay for everything, and not be in debt. Tell me who you know. I'll wait.
Who has to go to college? Schubert, I'm not saying.
You just said, why don't you just work and save the money before you do all that?
You did say that, Cal.
You said that, bro.
Like, yo, you implied that cats could save their way and pay off college.
No.
You did. I will rewind this and play this.
I'm not saying save the money to pay for the tuition. I'm saying, okay, if I have to fucking go pay for transportation back and forth to school, and then I have to pay for food. Okay, no, I'm not saying save $45,000. Maybe I save $10,000 so I have enough for 2 years, because the first 2 years, if I can't afford it, I'm going to community college. And then the last 2 years, okay, now I have $10,000 to pay for transportation, to pay for my books, and to pay for whatever food that I need. I'm not putting my way through college and paying for all my shit. Yeah, I might still have to take out loans. Doctors can go to community college for 2 years, go to an accredited university, and then go to med school. So can STEM, so can every single field. Niggas go into debt because, okay, this is the type of college experience that I want.
Okay, all right.
Wow, friend, you can't put that blanket statement out there in regards of the college experience that they want. Like,
what do you mean? Cash, people choose to go to the college that they want. I mean,
but it's not. You're saying the college experience. There's some people who basically goes to a college because that's college provide the necessary major or concentration for the career path that they want.
You're right, and they can still do 2 years of community college first, and then go there for 2 years instead of 4.
And then go to, but that still doesn't ignore the fact that they still accumulate credit card debt.
Exactly. Like
what are you saying, bro?
That's what I was gonna say. Like during them 2 years in community college, they don't still need food, transportation, somewhere to live.
And then on top of that, what I'm not completely understanding, hold up. But what I'm not understanding
and minimum wage is gonna pay for that.
Exactly, Schubert.
How many minimum wage people you know that's in college that's just doing flush?
Because when you graduate from high school, your parents kick you out and say, I see that you're in college, but you're not living here no more. So when you're in high school, when you're in high school, your parents are taking care of all of that.
Some people, yes.
And then Schubert, you're right. Some people, yes. But that's not everybody.
That's not everybody. But let's say your parents are letting you live with them, right? But you still are now that you're 18.
Okay, go ahead.
They're not charging you rent, but you still have to provide yourself with food. You still have to provide yourself with transportation. You still have to provide yourself with clothes. You still have to take care of all of your own essential needs.
Now,
and you're telling me, hold up, stop.
You guys can correct me if I'm wrong.
Stop.
Did anybody on this call, would your parents put y'all in that situation? Oh, I see that you're in college now, but now that you've graduated high school, now you have to pay for all of your own shit, and you're gonna have to struggle.
Me.
Majority.
So your mom said when you graduated from high school,
she didn't say it. It was implied, bro.
Yeah,
she didn't say it. It was implied.
That happened with my brother too, because he ain't getting.
Come on, man.
I don't know anybody whose parents are still taking care of them after they graduate high school.
Yeah, Henry, that does.
My mom she didn't pay for myself anything for me when I got to college.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is
because
what I'm saying is the way. This is what I'm saying. The way that your mom supported you in high school, she wouldn't do that for the same exact way for 2 more years that she sees that you're in community college.
No.
The same exact way.
No, she's going to expect
Dog,
you to get a
I
job.
had more expenses
do it.
than I did in high
Yeah.
school. What are
But
you
Smith,
saying?
Smith,
I had more expensive
just
than
the
I did
fact
in
that
high
Everybody's
school.
not going to
No,
be
two
the same.
things,
Henry,
two
so you
factors.
can't
Factor
just try to
number
put it
one.
like
Factor
that.
number one is that if you were at that age, you needed a little bit of cash, and your parents are not going to give you that cash, so you had to go get a job. You go get a job, that means you have your own income. Your parents are going to be like, well, Sid, you got your own income now. If I'm providing you with food, let's say I'm providing you with food and shelter, you got to take care of your own clothes. You got to take care of your own vehicle, your own insurance, your own cell phone. All of that now falls on you. Now that little minimum wage.
Yeah, I disagree.
I disagree. And here's the thing. Back in the day, I remember minimum wage because when I was working minimum wage, it was $5.15. It was $5.15. Let's say you did 40 hours a week. At 40 hours a week, you were making $200 a week. All right, $200 a week. That's $800 a month. One fucking car problem would obliterate that. All right, I had a 1985 Ford Probe that when the fucking alternator went out, boom, 3 weeks of pay was gone.
No, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to believe that if I went to my parents and said, "Yo, I can't afford college,"
well, your parents
right now,
Wait,
I
I
can't afford college. I want to go to community college for 2 years. Can you help me the way that you? I'm not even asking for more help. Can you do exactly what you've been doing for me my last 2 years in high school for my next 2 years while I go through community college? They're gonna say, no, you graduated college now. You're getting a job. And you got it.
Harry, don't be so condescending. You don't have to be condescending about it because some parents are going to be like that.
A lot of parents are going to be like that.
I didn't do my 2 years of graduate school because I didn't get the assistance. Like, don't get it. You know what I mean? I could have went into it, and I did 1 year because that was what I got the assistance on. But I needed to work and all that. So don't just assume that everybody got this cookie cutter approach where, oh, if I just go to my family has it. Some families don't have it like that.
Yeah, but they might have other kids they got to raise.
And you're not understanding for whatever reason. You're just thinking that everybody could wave this magic wand.
Because Henry thinks everybody's in his situation of being the only child.
College in itself is a debt trap.
Schubert, when I was going to college,
I wasn't done. Y'all talked a lot, man. College in itself is a debt trap. You can do college in 2 years for what you need. It's set up for that reason. So for you to argue against that, it's kind of null and void because college is set up to put you in debt. That's why it's there. It's not there just for us to become professionals. You can become a professional in 2 years for some of these. Trust me.
A lot of
But you got to do all these extra elective things to make you more of a well-rounded student. No, I don't need to be
unnecessary.
This ain't got nothing to do with what I'm trying to do in life. You understand?
Yeah, agree. I'm not, and I think that's a whole different argument. Like as far as,
but that's part of the argument.
That's part of the argument, dog.
That money could,
because you're making it sound like, hold up, because
kept me from going further in debt.
No,
because you're making it sound like, okay, my
like,
experience in high school could still remain the same if I did community college. Here's the thing. I didn't have to pay $200-$300 for books when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. I didn't necessarily have to, like, let's say my college is maybe 20 miles out. My mode of transportation is going to look different. Mm-hmm. Like, whereas, like, I was able to catch the MTA before. Now I got to catch the New Jersey Transit because that's the only mode of transportation that get me close enough to that college or that community college that you're referring to. Exactly, or a school bus. Like, there's so many things that changes once you hit the college scene, whether it's community or it's liberal or universities.
When I went to high school, they gave me lunch.
Yeah, when you gave you lunch.
But that's part. Yeah, but that's part of room and board too. If you're at, I mean, unless you say community college, then no, you're right. Niggas don't give you lunch. Niggas don't give you lunch at community college. Yeah, so even the trade-off with that is, I don't know. I mean, even if
the trade-off is you're going in debt,
but
right? And you need support.
Schubert, there's no. I mean, Smith, I'm sorry. No, the whole argument with college loan, student loans, like that, I feel like it's a different one from credit cards, where it's like, your parents. I don't feel like my mom or even had like an idea of even what like that student loan shit was gonna look like when she fucking graduated. But like the fact that she uses a credit card as frequently as she does and looks at that shit every like I didn't even understand what my student loan shit was gonna look like really until like my junior or senior year. But I'm using my credit card every month. I'm looking like, damn, now I gotta pay this extra interest on this shit. So now I can look and see and say, like, yo, if you go into this debt, like this is what it's going to be. So like I feel like that shit is up in your face a lot more than it is. And I get the whole idea of like, you know, these kids are young and they're on you know, they're preying on them and all of this. But like I feel like a lot of niggas make the decision like, yo, I want the college experience. This is why I'm going here. This is why I'm going into debt. This is why I'm just like, I don't want to do community college. I want to live on campus. I want to go to this university here. I don't want to live at home. And I mean, I'll say this.
So you're telling me everyone.
But you're still, I don't know.
So you're
I'm not saying everyone.
I'm not saying everyone.
Because
no, I'm just saying the fact of, think about where colleges are, right? You're not going to find your college necessarily in your local town. Your colleges like Rutgers are going to be like New Brunswick, okay? Like New Brunswick. That's not around the corner. Some people aren't going to be able to commute. Or let's say they do commute every day.
I'm not even saying commute. You can still live on campus. I'm saying do that shit for 2 years instead of 4.
But the
it doesn't resolve the fact that you once you leave community to go to college.
Whether you stay on campus or when you commute, it comes with cost. It comes with cost, my dude. That's the thing. It comes with a cost.
Hey, Henry.
It's inevitable.
Hey, Henry. You know,
it's not like this is a luxury.
We got countries that they do free college, right? I'm just saying, it's a reason that we don't, bro. Like, come on now.
Like there's just I don't know, man. It's just I look at is there some frivolous spending that does happen with kids, college kids with credit cards? Sure, it happens.
There will be a lot of frivolous spending. You're in college, you're 18, 17, 19.
But I'm talking about
you're going to have some kind of frivolous spending. But at the end of the day, even without frivolous spending, when you find yourself in a pinch and you need something, you're going to swipe the card.
Exactly.
That's what I did. Like, I'm talking from experience. This is anecdotal.
Yeah, and I'm telling you from my experience, you know what got me credit card debt? My fucking car, okay? Because I had a beat up used car and this, that, and the other, and that shit would eat up my fucking money. When I had a transmission issue, I never even made $2,000 in one shot.
And I would tell you, and you know what?
I never even made $2,000. I had to spend $2,000 to fix my car.
And I would say for someone like myself who worked the number of jobs that I needed to work to save and pay off something, so I didn't necessarily find myself in the credit card trap. The opportunity cost that suffered in that is my grades. I didn't hit Dean's List, not one point. I'll never forget meeting with my guidance counselor, and she said, yo, you're too smart. How the hell did you graduate and not once hit Dean's List? I was like, have you not paid attention to the number of hours I needed to work to afford to stay on college?
Man, that's a whole nother shit. That shit is fucking overrated too.
But what I'm saying is, it's either you get in. But what I'm saying is, it's either you get in debt, whether it's virtue of your credit card and your student loans, or your grades will suffer because you're trying to not be in as much debt as possible.
Exactly.
People find themselves in that trap all the time. I've known several people who changed majors because they couldn't necessarily afford. Because their grades were suffering because they were working so much. They was like, yo, I got to work to stay on campus, but this major is requiring me to do lab work. You've never done that shit, bro. Like, no offense. I'm telling you, when we talk about liberal arts universities and liberal degrees, the vast majority is cakewalk. But like, if you talk about the real majors that require you to really study, and really understand formulas and concepts and all that other shit. Exactly. Bro, you don't have time to work like that.
You're trying to bring your book
you
to
don't.
This 2004 $5.15 minimum wage? Oh my goodness.
You ain't got time to work like that.
I feel like for every case that you have like Smith, or for every case that you have like a fucking nigga who's doing STEM, you got just as many cases of niggas who are just fucking, yo, I'm spending that shit on whatever the fuck I want to spend it on. whether it's because you don't want to work, whether it's because you do work and you want to spend more money. Like, I don't think it's just, and I get these niggas. Okay, so the interest rates are ridiculous. They are. The shits are high.
Listen.
But like every nigga, like every motherfucker ain't the victim. And when I say every person isn't, I don't feel like there's enough niggas who spend that shit frivolously to be like, yeah, well, that's just a couple people who do that. But the average person is using credit cards to survive. The average person, 18 to 22.
Let me say this right quick. There's a reason why they give you these cards on college campuses, but they never make that one of the electives. You're never forced to take credit card debt 101 in school.
Or financial.
Why don't they make you take that before? And then after you take that class, then they present you with the credit card, Henry. Come on, bro. It's set up for that. Like, come on. It's set up. Because guess what? We can have you come to our school, and before you get any credit card, you got to pass this class. Then we get credit card at the end of this class.
But that shit, you know what, though, Smith? That shit is
we want you to get
true.
that because we know you're a fucking teenager. You're a little child.
Yeah,
you're getting some money. You're going to spend it frivolously. Like, who wouldn't? Like, you got to learn from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that shit is
learn from
true,
that.
though.
And if you came from not having anything, Henry, and somebody give you a credit card with a $7,500, you know, one of my first credit cards, $7,500 they gave me. Like, what am I supposed to do with that, bruh?
Cut it up.
Yeah, that's what I learned later.
Who'd you learn that from?
Yeah, you have to learn. I didn't learn that then.
I don't know, man. I just, like I said, I'll point out,
statement.
And this is, like I said, I pointed out a story that I'm very close to.
Yo, the parents got to give you that info.
The parents don't know to give you that. You didn't hear Black Zeus, bruh? Or you just yourself?
Bro, my mom didn't teach me shit about finances,
what I'm saying.
bro. I learned everything I needed to know about finances through myself.
That's not taught, bro. Like, you thinking about what you're saying, but you're not listening to 3 other people who are telling you not taught.
So when niggas look, so you saying when your parents look at the credit card, so when your parents, and it's not even
Henry, it's 4 of us on here. You represent 25%.
No, let him speak. Let him say what he has to say.
Oh, so y'all saying when your parents look at a credit card, they can't see, like, damn, I fucking owe $100. I spent $100. They're making me pay $112. Like, damn, like, I'm paying more than what I did, than what I.
So let me ask you.
So let me tell my child, hey, when you get a credit card, you're gonna end up paying more.
Nope,
than
never
what
had that
spend.
conversation.
Never had that conversation.
Never had that conversation.
No, I'm not saying that you didn't have the conversation. I'm saying, did your parents not understand that? Like,
obviously not. If it was my conversation.
It's still not a conversation. Whether she knew it or not, she didn't converse that with me.
Exactly, it wasn't conversed with him.
All right, let me ask a question. Here's a question, right? You work and live in the East Orange, Newark area. Does it seem like people in those areas understand financial education?
As a whole, no.
Okay. So now their kids might have an opportunity to go to college and be something. Do you think they're going to be equipped to know that, hey, this credit card is a trap?
I honestly feel like out of that whole financial whatever, looking at that credit card, I think that would be the one thing that they can understand. If they feel like, you know what, this shit is a bad idea.
Stop. No, your argument was that the parents should teach it to them, and you just.
I can't understand both of y'all talking.
Hold on. You just said your argument was that the parents should teach it to them, but you just agreed that their parents don't have that. Most likely don't have that.
As a whole, no.
But now you're saying,
like,
Schubert, but now you're saying they should figure that out.
Well, if you're saying when you say financial literacy, I'm taking everything into account, not just credit cards. I feel like they I understood how fucking credit cards work from the beginning. I did not understand how retirement accounts worked from the beginning. I did not understand how mortgages worked from the beginning. I didn't understand how far. I agree, Smith. I understand how fucking I didn't understand how my student loans work. But a credit card that I used and looked at every single day, yes. I feel like it.